Hey, what's up, guys? Got another video for you. This is Tuned in Sports. My name is Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
And today we are bringing you another NBA video. The NBA Finals just wrapped up. The Los Angeles Lakers ended up winning this year's NBA Finals in 6 games, right?
Yep.
They won Game 6, so they are the NBA champions. And today we're just going to be kind of giving our thoughts on the Lakers, just the NBA playoffs in general, things that we liked, things that surprised us, things that didn't surprise us, and just kind of getting into the East, the West, and just sharing our thoughts on the NBA season in general.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start off with the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, let's start off with the Eastern Conference. So the representatives for the Eastern Conference in the first round were the Bucks against the Magic, the Pacers and the Heat, Celtics, 76ers, and Raptors and Nets. As far as I was concerned, there really wasn't any surprises as to who won in round one. You know, I definitely thought that the Heat were, even though they were the 5th seed and the Pacers were the 4, especially with how many people were either injured or not playing due to COVID. The Pacers team that had the record they had in the regular season was not the same team that was there for the playoffs in the bubble.
Yeah.
And overall, I just thought the Heat were a better team anyways.
I thought the Heat were probably they looked the best in the first round out of any of the East teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought the Heat looked. Honestly, I thought the Heat looked like the best team across the board from the time playoffs started. I thought they looked like the best team. But, you know, it didn't end up working for them in the finals. But let's not go there yet. In the first round, though, you know, the Heat were the 5 seed, Pacers were 4. Wasn't surprised to see the Heat win that. I was kind of surprised it was a sweep.
Yeah,
but I wasn't surprised that they won it. I actually thought the Pacers would win 2 games. At least 1 game, if not 2. But they got sweeped.
Talk about a series where I didn't think a team was going to win a game, though, was the Bucks Magic. I thought the Bucks were for sure going to be sweeping the Magic in that round.
And especially the Magic coming out and winning Game 1. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but not only that, but just consider that the Magic have a bunch of injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were able to get a Game 1 win. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty good for them. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody really thought because of that the Magic were going to end up beating them. No. I definitely didn't. I was like, well, that's cool that they won Game 1, but that's about it, and that's about what it ended up being. They lost the series 4-1, so not really a surprise there.
Yeah, I mean, another series where I thought things were just didn't turn out the way I thought they were going to was Celtics-Sixers.
Yeah.
I thought the Sixers would put up more of a fight. At least take like 1 game.
I thought the Celtics were going to win the series, but I didn't think it would be a sweep. The Sixers have a lot more talent than a 4-0 sweep, which is why I think the coach got fired, and rightfully so, because you just can't have that kind of performance with how much talent they have on their roster. I realize Ben Simmons didn't play, but apart from that, you had pretty much everybody, and you couldn't even manage a game. And a good portion of the games weren't even close.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it.
I definitely thought that the 76ers should have been better, and they got swept, and that was a surprise to me. So,
yep.
You know, and then the other series in the first round was the Raptors and the Nets. You know, no surprise that the Raptors pretty well handled the Nets. Because the Nets had some injuries as well as some people that elected not to play due to COVID. But, you know, moving forward, the fact that the Nets have been in it the last couple years, and that was pre-Kyrie, pre-KD, and they've been in it and put up fights in the playoffs. I think that speaks well to their future when KD and Kyrie are healthy, playing together, and they got the surrounding cast.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Nets are going to be a contender in the East for a while.
They're going to be hell to deal with.
Yeah.
If things, that's provided things don't go badly in the locker room or,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, of course, but just
typical
on
things.
paper, though.
On paper, though, Nets should be probably the best team in the East next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I still think the Heat are going to be the best team in the East. But the Nets, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to put up a fight against anybody, though. I'll say that.
They're gonna be
we'll
tough.
see what ends up happening. It's going to be interesting to see. So moving on to the next round, it's the Bucks against the Heat. I actually thought that this was going to be a tough series. I actually did think the Heat were going to win, but I thought it was going to be in 6 or 7 games.
I didn't. I thought the Bucks were going to win it, but then again, I mean, with how the Heat looked in that first round, it wouldn't have surprised me at all if the Heat
I
won
thought the
series.
Heat were going to win the series, but I didn't think it would be a 4-1. And
No,
it was a
the
3-0. It was 3-0, and then the Bucks won, and then the Heat won again. So it wasn't even like 1-1, and then it was like over before it even started.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was very surprised that was the case, but I actually did think the Heat were going to win because I think that the Heat were just overall a better team. I think the Bucks are a solid team, but outside of Giannis, and the problem with Giannis is that you can't rely on him to make the big shots, and when you're relying on other people, Chris Middleton had some good games, and they've got some good players on their team, but I don't think they have really that many great players. And Giannis is not somebody that you can really rely on to make the big shot. So I think that it was just going to be a tough series, and the Heat have good to great shooters all around the floor. Yeah. So I actually did think the Heat were going to win the series.
Wow.
But like I said, I didn't think it was going to be in 5 games.
Yeah, exactly. And then going on to the
Celtics Raptors.
Great series.
Great series. Was not at all surprised to see that go 7 games.
Me personally, I actually had the Raptors winning it.
I had the Celtics winning it. I actually thought the Celtics were my pick to go to the finals.
I had the Raptors. Just because I thought, they weren't going to, with how they looked in the Nets series, they overall, to me, I thought they looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
So,
the weird thing is didn't the final game in the Raptors Celtics series go to overtime, or was I?
Yeah, I think so.
So it came right down to the final bell, which is about what happened the entire series long.
Yeah,
that was one of those series where not only did it go to 7 games, but most of the games were tight too.
Yeah, that was probably honestly my favorite series to watch in the second round.
Yeah, it was a great one for sure.
Yeah.
And both teams looked like they really wanted the series, and the Celtics got ahead and won. I wasn't surprised by that because, like I said, I picked the Celtics to represent the East. I thought that they were going to win it, but hey, didn't end up working that way. And then, moving forward, obviously, into the conference finals, Heat versus Celtics. Heat won the series 4-2. I honestly saw it going the other way. I thought the Celtics were going to win this series, and I thought, even though I know I just said in the last round that I thought the Heat looked like the best team playing basketball in the playoffs, I thought the Celtics were going to win here because as good as the Heat looked in the first and second round, I thought in the third round the Celtics just had so many players around the court that it was going to be tough sledding for them to win. And it was tough sledding for them to win. As a matter of fact, they just straight up lost.
Yeah. Me personally, I think the Heat were the surprise of the playoffs this season.
Yeah.
To me, how they performed throughout the whole playoffs was not what I was expecting.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I honestly thought it was kind of written in stone also. Just Lakers Heat again. I mean, Lakers Celtics, classic rivalry in a strange season because of COVID and everything. Like, oh great, here we go with two normal teams again. Lakers and Celtics. How many times have they competed for the finals? Quite a few. Yeah. So I was just expecting that to be what ended up happening, as well as just I thought the Celtics were the best team in the East. But he ended up winning it in 6 games. At the very least, I thought it was going to go to a Game 7, but hey, he took care of them in 6 games. So, good for them.
Yeah.
And after that happened, I definitely thought the Heat were the best team playing. I thought they were even playing better basketball overall than the Lakers.
Yeah, I would agree.
So going into the finals, I really gave them a chance. I thought they had more than a chance to pull off the upset.
The only reason I didn't think that the Heat were gonna even have a shot in that series is just because of like the Lakers' history and Kobe dying recently and stuff like that. I mean, it was just written in stone for the Lakers to win it.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying in terms of who's playing the best basketball going into the series, I thought Miami looked like the best team.
Yeah, I would agree.
In the playoffs overall, I mean, they played tough opponents, the Bucks and the Celtics and the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers, all of those, they technically shouldn't have been favored against because all of those were lower seeds, and they beat each of them. So I was really impressed with the Celtics for sure. The Heat for sure. But, it just didn't end up working out the way that I thought. But let's go ahead and get into the Western Conference, and then we'll finish up by talking about the finals and just moving forward. So the first series, Lakers and Trailblazers, I wasn't surprised to see the Lakers go away and win in the series 4-1. But what I will say is, after the Blazers won Game 1, I was kind of thinking to myself, wow, are they going to give them a series? I thought it was going to maybe go to 6 or 7 games.
Out of the teams that were left fighting for the A seed towards the end of the season, I thought the Blazers had the best chance of giving the Lakers a series. I'll say that much.
Yep. But no, exactly. I definitely thought the Blazers had more than a shot to give them a series. But first of all, Damian Lillard was battling some injuries, I think, towards the end of the series, which didn't help. But they were already down, I think, 3-1 by the time Dame got hurt, right? Or at least they were down 2-1, right? I think that he got injured in Game 4, right?
Or something like that.
But I mean, it just didn't end up working out for the Blazers the way that I thought. Even when he was playing outside of that first game, they just didn't look like the same team from Game 1. Each of the games, a majority of them, they got pounded. Most of them weren't even close, even when he was playing. So, I don't know. Like I said, I think I really was like, wow, are they going to maybe do something here in round 1? But nope, they ended up not doing anything.
Yeah, that's kind of how a lot of the Lakers series went in this playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Moving on to the next game, the next series, Rockets versus Thunder.
That was an awesome series also.
It was an awesome series, and being a Thunder fan myself, I was really really, really, really happy with how we played. Now, obviously, game 1 and 2, we look like crap. But game 3, 4, we obviously won. And I was like, boy, are we going to be able to pull it out? And without Russ playing, I was like, hey, here we go. But then Russ came back, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted. But at least we got a couple wins. We got 2 wins. Russ came back. We lost game 5. We won game 6, and I was like, hey, anything can happen. And we lost game 7 in the final seconds. It was a hell of a series. So great to watch. And even though we lost, I was beyond happy with the Thunder. You know, they had like a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs based on the polls at the beginning of the season. The fact that we made the playoffs and won a game.
And the fact that you were even the 5th seed.
Yeah, 5th seed was incredible. The fact that we even won a game, I was happy with.
Yeah, exactly.
I was happy that we even made it and were a 5th seed. Then the fact that we won a game, I was happy with. The fact that we won 3 games and were a shot away from winning a series, I was over the moon happy. I could not have been happier with the Thunder this season.
Yeah,
I could not have been happier. I'm not even just saying that.
Quite frankly, I was pretty surprised when they decided to fire the coach.
Well,
I felt like he did a hell of a job this season.
Well, they said it was a mutual. So I don't know if I think I'm not exactly sure what happened, but honestly, Billy Donovan, for my money, should have been Coach of the Year this year. I thought he did an excellent job as head coach of the Thunder, especially this year. He took a team that, you know, by all rights had no right to be there, according to all
being in the playoffs.
According to all the experts and all this other stuff, and he had that team planned, and it came down to final seconds. Kudos to you. And kudos to the Thunder for an awesome series.
Yeah, and good luck to Billy in
Philadelphia, right?
No, he's not in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right. That's Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Good luck to him.
But I had nothing but respect for the Thunder and how they played. I couldn't have been happier as a fan. And of all the teams to lose it to, I was fine with it being the Rockets because I wanted Westbrook to do well because I'm obviously a huge Westbrook fan with all his years on the Thunder. So I was fine with losing to the Rockets.
And I'm sure you didn't mind James Harden having success because
another ex-Thunder player.
Yep.
Right? So So with that being said, let's move on to the next series. Nuggets at Jazz. Holy crap! Speaking of excellent series, I mean this was one of the most fun series to watch just as a basketball fan. Jamal Murray versus
Donovan Mitchell.
Man. Boom. What a flippin' series this was. Just those two.
Oh my God.
Those two sharing, going back and forth, 40-point, 50-point outings. It was absolutely insane.
Hats off to both those teams. Because they really were playing like they wanted to win.
Yep.
That's the kind of basketball that you like to see.
Yep. Now, unfortunately, looking at the Jazz, do they still have their coach?
Yeah.
The Jazz, they're like one of those teams where I feel like looking at their roster, they should be better than just a tough series in round 1, but you end up beating. I feel like they should be better than that, but consistently they're a good team, but they can't beat the top teams.
No.
And they couldn't get past Denver even though they had them up 3-1. As far as I'm concerned, I think the coach hasn't done a great job getting them to the next level. But then again, are they going to be able to bring in somebody that's going to be a huge improvement? Right now, I think yes. I think they could bring in Mark Jackson or Nate McMillan, and both of those guys could be an improvement over who they have right now.
Yeah, Kirk Snyder.
Yeah, I think Kirk Snyder is good. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I'm just saying, year after year, it seems like they have pretty high expectations, and they should be better, but they just seem to be an easy out.
To me, this was the season where they would be contending. Like, just brought in Mike Conley, got Bogdanovich. I thought they had the pieces there to make a run.
Yeah.
Honestly. But
yeah, and then to be up 3-1 and lose it the way that they did, I just really, especially Game 7, they got just blasted, didn't they?
No, they only lost by 2 points.
In Game 7?
Yeah, I think that was the game that was 78-80.
Oh, yeah, so. You're right. But in a handful of the games, though, they got blasted.
Yeah, it just, it sucked, but...
Awesome job by the Nuggets, though, not giving up. They were down 3-1.
Yeah, that was a common trend in the Nuggets this year.
For sure. But, hey, like I said before, just a great series to watch as a basketball fan.
Definitely.
Speaking of great series, let's get on to the Clippers Mavericks. Yeah, that
was a good series, but ultimately, I mean, the Mavericks ran into some problems.
As I just illustrated, the Mavericks were nothing to sneeze at during that season, in that series. But at the end of the day, I just think the Clippers had too much, and the Mavericks, especially after losing Porzingis, and him not playing most of those games, I think that was the biggest difference in the series.
As soon as Porzingis went out, I kind of knew that the Clippers were going to end up winning it.
Yeah, but the Clippers, the Mavericks came to play, and they're going to be a team to look out for in the future. A lot of people are talking about, the Lakers and the Warriors are getting their players back and stuff like that. Don't be sleeping on the damn Mavericks, because I would not be surprised with a couple additions here and there.
Dude, Mavericks could go from one of the better teams to the best team in the league. Just like that.
With a couple additions here and there, I think they could seriously take a leap.
Dude, Doncic, arguably the best player in the league, in my opinion. That guy is serious. You don't get much better than him at forward.
Yep, and honestly, once Russ hangs it up, my new favorite player in the league, at least probably right now, from what I can tell, is Luka.
Yeah, I like Luka too.
Luka is just awesome.
He's hell to play against, though.
And he's so much fun to watch, though. He's incredible.
Yeah,
I love Luka. And I don't think it'll be too long before he's the best player in the league. Hell, right now, he's arguably
the best player in the
league. One of, if not the best player in the league. And he's only going to get better. That's the crazy thing.
Hey, all I needed to see was when he knocked that game-winning 3 down on us with like 3 seconds left to go.
Yeah.
That sucked.
You know what? I was hoping the Clippers would win for his sake, but I couldn't help but root for the Mavericks some in that series, just because there's just a lot of things about the Mavericks that I like. I love Luka. Porzingis is an awesome addition to that team. The city of Dallas, at least on the basketball side, I really like because of Mark Cuban especially. I've always been a big fan and supporter of Mark Cuban, as well as I always liked him a lot from Shark Tank and stuff,
Yeah.
and then just how passionate he is as an owner. I've had a lot of respect for him. So I have a lot of respect and love for the Mavericks, and just as an organization. And then they've got one of my favorite players, Luka Doncic, on there. He's arguably one of my favorite players in the league. right now. I just love watching him. He was so much fun to watch during the playoff series. And, you know, you got all these guys sitting there talking crap to him and stuff, like Harrell and Pat Bev and what's his nuts, especially Marcus Morris, too. And I'm just like, dude, are you kidding me?
Dude, he could wipe the floor with you in a 1v1 or...
Like, listen, man, you freaking Clippers...
You're not even on his level.
You freaking Clippers players, your team, arguably, from top to bottom, was the best team in the NBA. The Mavericks, they've got good players here and there, but for the most part, they're going as far as Luka and Kristaps' shooting percentage.
Exactly.
They're going that far. And for you to be sitting there and talking trash when they beat you 2 games.
And honestly, they didn't even have Porzingis.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not even guaranteeing that they, if Porzingis didn't go out with a technical foul in game 1 with technical fouls, I'm not even guaranteeing that the Clippers win game 1.
They were getting their rear ends handed to them before Porzingis went out.
I think they could have easily won game 1 if it wasn't for Porzingis being out. They could have won the series if it wasn't for Porzingis being out. So all those people crap talking Luka, I was like, man, shut the hell up. Marcus Morris, are you kidding me? Like, dude, you're a good player, but come on, give me a break. I mean, Luka Doncic is probably going, like we said earlier, he's right now arguably probably the best player in the league. You could make a case for him being, if not the best, at least top 5 right now. And
I think top 3.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, dude, shut the hell up. Talking about Luka and all this other stuff when he's dropping 40 points on you, hurt.
I mean.
So I just that whole thing was like, give me a break. But hey, good on Luka for a great series. I can't wait to watch the Mavericks moving forward. They're gonna be hell. Just this year, they gave the Clippers everything they wanted in this series. And the Clippers, in my mind, had a head over heels better roster than the Mavericks. And they still gave them a series. A couple players switched here and there.
That's why we're saying, though, like, you
take a couple players on the Mavericks and switch them for some others, like better shooters and stuff. Like, you get some knockdown shooters on the Mavericks that if you leave them open, it's gone. It's in. Like, you get some kind of like like a Duncan Robinson or a JJ Redick or just somebody like that where you leave him open and you can go ahead and count it. And just some more reliable shooting on the Mavericks. Boy, you've got hell to deal with playing them. I don't care who. Lakers, Clippers, any of them.
I think
Warriors. I don't care.
Yeah, they're gonna be hell to deal with if they get a couple pieces.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to the next thing because we've already spent a lot of time talking about the Clippers game. So let's move on to the second round here. Lakers took on the Rockets. Once again, the Rockets won game 1 and didn't win again the rest of the series. Coming off the first series against the Thunder, I honestly thought if any of the teams outside of the Clippers had a chance against the Lakers, I really did think it was the Rockets. Because the Rockets are just one of those teams where their style of play gives them a chance against anybody, but it also gives the other team a chance against them, no matter who it is. And that definitely
I think
was the case
I
here.
mean, shout out to the Rockets though for being unique and trying a different style of ball. Playing small ball.
I watched the Rockets in the Thunder series every game. And the Rockets when they were on, they were just on. I mean, there was just nothing you could do.
If they have a good shooting day, they're literally unguardable.
They're a lot like the Warriors used to be, where if they're shooting it well, it doesn't matter who you are because you just can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they only ran like a 7-man rotation or whatever, where they just had those set group of guys. But man, those are some solid damn players. And I was rooting for the Rockets,
Me too,
especially because, like I said, Russ is my favorite player, and so wherever he goes, I'm going to root for that team as well. They're not, the Thunder are obviously my team, but I'm gonna root for whatever team Russ is on. And so the fact that he's on the Rockets, I was rooting for them. But at the end of the day, the Lakers were just the better team, and the Rockets just didn't shoot the ball as well past game one. They just couldn't find the rhythm very well. And a lot of that has to do with the Lakers just
adjusting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Moving on, though. Nuggets, Clippers. Clippers up 3-1.
Yep.
And then
we all thought the series was over.
With a double-digit lead in every game, and managed to blow the series
all 3 games
to the Nuggets. And in Game 7, they got absolutely toasted. And it just
oh man!
It was definitely not good.
After Game 4, it was basically downhill from there. Man, I ain't got enough words to say about how this series went. Overall, I mean, Game 7 especially, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard had 0 points in the fourth quarter. Didn't show up, which was not what I was expecting. I thought maybe that, they would get to Game 7 and then the Clippers would end it.
Yeah.
So, but didn't end up happening.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen too. Was they were going to push it to Game 7, but then Clippers would take care of business.
Yep, and then.
But no, they did quite the opposite.
Yeah, the Clippers finally.
They got their business taken care of.
Exactly.
So, the Clippers, they were a total disappointment. Especially, like I said, after all the crap talking that they were doing throughout the season, Pat Bev calling out LeBron saying, hey, he's not going to be anything to guard. Come playoff time, I'll take him and I'll lock him down and all this other stuff. And then to turn around and lose to the Nuggets. I mean, I was hoping that
I was really hoping for a Clippers-Lakers series.
I was too. But I just, after all the crap talking that, not everybody, but I'm just saying some of the players on the team, after the way they conducted themselves in the Mavericks series, as well as all the crap talking that they were doing going forward to the Lakers before they even played them, it was just kind of like when they lost, it was like, you know what I mean?
Ultimately what I think happened is the Clippers... The exact same thing that everybody was accusing the Lakers of doing, which was saying, oh, I only got to worry about the Lakers. Or, vice versa. Lakers only got to worry about the Clippers.
Yeah.
So, that ended up costing them.
Yeah, that's essentially what they did, especially when they took the 3-1 lead. I think they were just like, this series is over. And they have so much talent on the team. I think they were just like, oh, well, we got, Kawhi will take it over and he'll coast us to a victory. That's what he does. Or Paul George will show up and do what he does. And if that doesn't happen, we got a bunch of other guys, Marcus Morris, the player Montrez, Lou Williams. We'll be set. Somebody will show up, and nobody did. They just all froze.
Exactly.
They all just froze. But like I said,
they lost one game, it just went.
Like I said,
to the crappers.
Like I said, with all the crap talking and stuff that they were doing, not they collectively, but certain players were doing, it just like when they lost the fashion that they did, it was hard not to just laugh at a couple of them. And like I said, especially the ones that were doing all that crap talking to Luka, I was like, dude, you guys got a way better team overall. You shouldn't have even, honestly, the Mavericks shouldn't. Especially with Porzingis being out, you guys should have toasted them every game. And the fact that it went to 6 games and the Mavericks won a game without Porzingis, I was like, dude, a team that's not at full strength, that's missing their number 2, took you guys to 6 games, and then you lose here, and you're doing all that crap talking to a guy that's carrying the team on his own. And I'm like, yeah, well, have fun watching the Lakers on the couch. You know what I mean? But, hey, that's part of what makes the Clippers, though, is they've got that identity of, like Pat Bev and some of these outspoken, just in-your-face, like, oh, we're the best type players. Well, you love it, but I'm just saying you love to hate it, too. If you're not a Clippers fan, it's easy to be like, oh, man, screw these guys. Yeah, but exactly. I like the Clippers, so I didn't have a problem with them. I'm just saying, with the way that a few of the players conducted themselves, it's kind of funny to watch them have that happen. Yeah, it was a tough series for them, and, it was I pretty much, like Bennett said, it was pretty much written in stone, Lakers, Clippers. That's all everybody pictured the entire season long. And I think they believed it. They bought into the hype. And then before you knew it, some team showed a little bit of resiliency against them. Actually, 2 teams. The Mavericks, too. And when the Mavericks would be playing well and stuff, the Clippers looked like they just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
They just looked like they had no idea what to do when the Mavericks would start playing really well. Yeah. And same with the Nuggets. Whenever the Nuggets were just dropping shots and stuff, they all looked like they
didn't respond.
They all looked like they were looking for somebody to step up, and everyone was expecting someone else to do it. Yeah. Now I'm not saying Kawhi didn't step up in the majority of the games. Yeah, even when they lost,
30 points. Yeah, he was putting up at least 30.
So I'm definitely not saying that everybody was just MIA, but for the most part, it just looked like a lot of these guys were kind of looking for, hey, Kawhi, this is what we brought you here. This is what we brought you here for. Take it over, and he couldn't do it on his own. So it is what it is. Let's move on to the next game just so we don't make this video too long. Yeah. Lakers versus Nuggets, Western Conference Finals. Going in, I didn't give the Nuggets much of a chance. And
I really didn't either. But, that just makes the Clippers look bad, though. Is because the Nuggets ended up losing 4-1. And that made the Lakers look all that much better. Because, the Nuggets just got done coming back 3-1 twice in a row.
Yeah.
And that just made probably gave the Lakers.
And everyone was like, oh, it's 3-1. This is what we were looking for. And they just stepped on their throats and smashed them in Game 5.
So,
yeah, exactly. So,
but that ultimately, I think winning that Nuggets series is what gave the Lakers the confidence they needed to for sure win in the finals.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped performing the way that they did, and then seeing that the Nuggets kept coming back against teams and saying, no, not today, and beating them the way that they did.
The pedal to the metal.
Yep, not saying, no, we're not going to play these games with you. We're going to knock you out. And that's what they did. So I think going into the finals, they definitely had a lot of confidence. And, yeah, they did what they needed to do, and they won the game. So, shout out to them. for winning that series. Shout out to the Nuggets for getting there, though. I definitely thought that was a great performance.
They had a tough road.
Yeah, they did.
And, man, they
showed a lot of resiliency. And the Nuggets, too, are another team to me that are only a couple players, maybe even not a couple players, just maybe another year with maybe different matchups or something. They could really do something. But especially if they were to get a couple players here and there, they could really be, I mean, Jamal Murray and Jokic. I mean, Jokic, if there was any doubts on Jokic going into this season, those doubts, go ahead and get rid of them. That dude was everything that an all-star and more should be. That guy was incredible. Same with Jamal Murray.
Man, especially in the Clippers series, Jokic, I believe in one of the games had a triple-double at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that guy is serious. Probably the best center in the league.
Oh, yeah, by far, I think.
I think he's definitely the best center in the league.
Yeah, what?
I don't know who you would put in that conversation.
No, I mean, I can't really think of anybody else that's a center that is even
close to as good as he is.
Bam Adebayo is pretty good, but I don't think Bam Adebayo doesn't have the complete game that Jokic has.
Yeah, he doesn't have offense.
Same with Whiteside. Whiteside is a great rim protector and stuff, but he doesn't have an offensive game.
I just don't think there's anybody on Jokic's level.
Well, there is Zubats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Zubats and Joakim Noah. Now, I know that he played, maybe 3 minutes in the playoffs, but that's because...
You know, the sad thing about it, too, though, is, like you were talking about with Joakim Noah, though. I think he really could have been useful in that series against the Nuggets.
He couldn't have hurt.
Because, I mean, they kept on putting Harrell in there against Jokic.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sitting here like, dude, that's not a good matchup at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but, Harrell's not going to guard Jokic.
And not only that, but you can't, but that's what makes Jokic so good, though, is because nobody is a good matchup for him. You take Harrell and put him on him, well, guess what? Harrell is now away from the rim. What does Harrell do as good, if not better than anybody? Rebound.
Protection. Yeah.
And rim protection. If he's standing out here at the free throw line with Jokic, is he near the basket to protect the rim or get rebounds? No. So he's taken out of the play. So Jokic presents a lot of matchup problems. Same with Joakim. What does he do best? Rim protect, rebound, defense close to the hole. If he's out at the free throw line or beyond trying to guard Jokic.
The difference between Jokic and Harrell and Joakim is size. Joakim has size, whereas Harrell, he's probably the smallest center in the league.
Yeah, but at the same time, Joakim is also older. So he's going to be he might not be able to play as many minutes.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Other players, and Jokic is not taking seats very often.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying,
No, but I completely agree. He definitely couldn't have hurt. What was the other alternative? Having Zubats guard him? That was a joke.
Zubats wasn't guarding anybody.
Zubats guarding him is a joke. And again, what does Zubats do best also is rebound, and you take him away from there. That was part of the problem that the Clippers had, was getting rebounds. Nobody was rebounding the ball very well.
Yep, exactly.
So, anyways, though, talking about the Nuggets and Lakers, great win for the Lakers. They just took a team that was promising and was like, hey, this is when we do our best basketball, and just said, not today. See ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on to the finals, though. Lakers, Heat. I thought it was going to be a great series. I saw it going 6 or 7 games. I thought the Lakers were going to win. They ended up winning. One thing's for sure. I think the Heat are a serious team, and Jimmy Butler is...
Dude, that guy... Another guy that I think could be arguably in the top 5 players in the league right now.
Jimmy Butler went out there and showed exactly why
the Heat brought him in.
he outperformed. Just about in every series, he performed as well, if not better, than whoever the top player on the other side was. I mean, that dude is an all-star. He is incredible, and every time that the Heat won, he had incredible games.
He basically, to me, he shut up all the people that were doubting him because of the Minnesota garbage that was going on.
Yeah. No, he's still going to have his people that don't like him, but I'll just say that if you just look at what he does on the basketball court, there's no doubt he's just one of the best players. I mean, he proved it game and game and game and game and game again.
In those playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs, throughout the season, he's an excellent player.
Yeah, I wish, actually, the Clippers actually were going to go after him in the last offseason.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, I'm all for that. I mean, that guy can play.
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course not. I mean, we see where he's at and where we're at. We're out in the second round. He's in the finals.
Yep.
So,
hey, you know what though? I mean, it is what it is. But
hey, good for him though, man. That guy's serious.
The Heat, they didn't end up winning, but I think their time is coming.
Yeah, they're gonna be held
I think
to deal
this
with
was a little soon, but if Jimmy Butler stays there and they're able to keep some of the young players, Tyler
He's there
Hero,
for 4 years.
Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo. I mean, they've got a solid nucleus of players, and Goran Dragic.
And these are young guys too.
Dude.
Hero and Duncan Robinson, those guys are both really young players.
Yeah, they're on their rookie contracts.
Yeah.
Dude, freaking what's his nuts? Goran Dragic. You want to talk about a guy that took his game up a level in the playoffs? Dude, I never really looked at Goran Dragic as anything other than just a solid point guard, usually on teams that weren't involved in anything. But boy, oh boy, that dude, he proved in the playoffs especially that he is better than just another point guard in the league. He played his butt off game and
Same with Tyler Hero.
Well, yeah, but I'm specifically talking about Dragic because Hero, I mean, he's a good player. He's a rookie, has a lot of hype around him. I'm not surprised to see him playing well. But Goran Dragic, I mean, to me, he was just kind of another point guard, better than average, but not really anything too special. But boy, was I wrong, apparently. Because that dude played his socks off in all the games. He was knocking down shots. He was one of the better players on the Heat. And that's saying something.
You know, the crazy thing, though, is... the thing that sucks for the Heat, though, is, they dealt with injuries in that final series. Like, for instance, Bam Adebayo was out for a couple games. Goran Dragic, he was out for a couple games. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, like, if those guys don't go out, I think the Heat might have taken it to possibly 7.
Yeah, it definitely could have had an impact for sure if those guys were playing. But, it is what it is. But props to the Lakers. They did what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Speaking of players stepping up, they had a lot of players that stepped up when they needed to, time and time again. Like Rondo, Rondo, he played huge in a lot of crucial games.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he looked like the Celtics Rondo. Not the Rondo we've been seeing the last handful of seasons that can't stay on the court and is getting in fights with people and stuff. He looked like the Rondo I remember from the Celtics that wasn't always the best shooter, but played huge in the playoffs.
Good for the Lakers. I mean, they with everything that's happened as of recently, like with, Kobe passing away.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just good for them and the organization.
Yeah, and props to them too. Especially with Kobe, for LeBron, good to see him get another ring. I like LeBron. I think he's a pretty cool dude and just seems to be like a class act in terms of a basketball player. And I think I'm happy to see him get another ring and win a series, as well as it's good to see Anthony Davis also get a ring because, that guy, he's one of the better players. Speaking of one of the better players in the league, Anthony Davis is right in there, probably in the top 5 to 10 players in the league, not at his position, just period. Period. He's one of the best players in the league right now, and he is serious. And it's difficult. I mean, in some respects, you want to see these top players sprinkled across the league so that teams like New Orleans and some of these smaller market teams that usually don't have a chance can have a chance. But with that being said, he was in New Orleans for how many years, and they did nothing. So it's good to see him go to a team that had a chance and win.
Yeah, exactly. Good for them. But, also shout out to the Heat, man. Like, the run they had going to the finals was nothing but impressive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Overall, just a really good year of playoffs.
So, guys, that was our thoughts on this year's playoffs. Make sure you stay tuned to this channel so you can hear more talks about the NBA playoffs and the upcoming season. We're super excited for it. So, with that being said, guys, congrats to the Lakers. And my name's Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.